people, and I'm back with another video. Unfortunately, I now have to make another video to clear up some misinformation in regards to my name, what people think it means, and its connection to Noon and other things. So right now, I guess we playing the name game because Mr. Charles Agee, is making certain claims about me. And once you lose a debate, they always go personal. The Nawapians do it. Anybody that has debated me or anybody in my circle always goes personal because they can't debate the information. So now my name was never a part of my discussion, was never part of the conversation. I told you to address the things that you said. You're on a page in Adafa's book, and his book is giving misinformation about Ethiopia and Sudan, which you have done research on. Why are you not correcting that? I also pointed out that you have said that York put the Hindus before the Tahites, and you've said that multiple times, not just in the screenshots that I've shown previously.
New York was supporting the Hindus and not supporting the Tahites.
Yo, is this Janelle? Let me put some hot sauce on that video real quick. Still cry when we fight. Still dream about you at night. Still check my phone every minute. Even when I think I reach my limit. Still text good night. Even when we ain't alright.
So what you did was practice the scapegoat doctrine as a reason to explain why you're recanting your statement.
So this NoopooH posted a pic in her video where it states that I said, and I did because I wrote it, and I did because I wrote it, that Dr. York was supporting the Hindus and not supporting the Tahites. And I said that. And I also said, give everything that I said in accordance to the Sabians and the Noonebus, how I went in both directions with Noone Science. That pick was not contested. That pick was not contested. And I'm going to say, you don't know how I'm playing the pieces on the chessboard. It's my chessboard. But let's go into it. Okay? Let's clear that up. And I would say that was not sound right reasoning at the time. That pick was used in a time and written at a time where I was a main component in the circle of these NoopooHites.
What? I'm out, man.
I was a main component in the circle of these NoopooHites.
No, what you have to do is you can't just recant a statement. You have to give reasoning on why you're taking it back. You didn't do that. You said you wasn't going to contest it because you can't contest the facts. That's it. The fact is York did do that. If you don't believe York put the Hindu before the Tahite, according to your statement, you have to prove that up to date he is not doing that and he has never done that. And during the time that you said it, you have to prove he wasn't doing that and neither was the cult. If you cannot do that, that means that you believed that at the time and that it's still factual whether you disagree with that now or then. That's the whole point. So focus on the topics at hand. That's the problem here. I'm talking about this book and the misinformation in it, and I'm addressing you and many others. The others, they're not going to come out and say anything, but I'm pretty sure you're being questioned on your statements. This is why you have to come out and clean it up. I don't need to do that, because I'm bringing out the facts. I don't have to say something and then clean it up for the sake of others, or scapegoat somebody else or a group of people for the sake of your sanity and to make you look innocent. You're guilty because you're scapegoating. Remember that video. You was reading scapegoatism, but you was accusing others of doing it. Listen to your words.
That means you should stand up and be responsible and address your ways. That means you should stand up and be responsible and address your ways. So let's go to law number 46. It's really quick for you. Scapegoatism. Who are you scapegoating? You are scapegoating the young girl, Queefpoo. You are using her to speak for you instead of being a man. That's scapegoatism, and that's forbidden in Noone Science. Law number 46. Listen to reason. Scapegoatism is a practice of barbarians, and it is forbidden now that the moon cycle is over the same way each time that conditions are the same. Now that the moon cycle has run its course, it is time for each and every person to stand on his and her own merits and be counted and judged by Almighty Nature in its balance of powers and persons and things. Scapegoatism is an affront to justice and fair play, and therefore it cannot stand and prevail in the time of justice. The guilty can no longer hide behind and stigmatize the innocent. In her video, where it states that I said, and I did because I wrote it, that Dr. York was supporting the Hindus and not supporting the Tahites. And I said that. And that pick was not contested. Okay? Let's clear that up. And I would say that was not sound right reasoning at the time. That pick was used in a time and written at a time where I was a main component in the circle of these NoopooHites. Because the time for putting blame on the innocent and getting away with it is over. I was a main component in the circle of these NoopooHites. Meaning, the use of scapegoatism now will cause negative backlash on the guilty. The guilty persons are the enemies of the Ethiopian race, and those who transgress the laws of nature after learning what they are or refusing to learn and practice the laws of nature after having access to them.
Okay, so that's my whole point. The only thing I give you props for in this video is that you didn't get super tasteless. Every video that you make, the first 30 seconds is trash, and I never even go listen past 30 seconds to a minute. Like, at that point, it's just like, okay, all you do is try to throw jabs that are false and don't work and don't hit home. So what else do you have to offer? Where does the information come into play? All right, so we're gonna go into some claims, because you was going into me, you was saying that me using the word Quee, Q-U-E-E, and poo and putting them together, you said that I'm removing, I left out the N or F.
I said she either left out the N or she left out the F. Queen and queef. And you know what a queef is. Okay. When it comes down to using the word queen, you gotta understand that this is not an Ethiopian word. First off, it's a Middle English word. And I'm gonna go through the etymology of the word.
But when did I ever say that Queepool came from queen? Never stated that. So the fact that you assume that, it doesn't make your argument valid, because you went straight to, you went to straight to saying this is how I formulated my name when I never said that. So that's an assumption. Belief is not truth. So you have to prove that I said Queepool stands for queen and 9 power, as you said. All right. Okay, so with that being said, you know, I'm gonna go into the nature books, because what you failed to do is do proper research, like I've been saying. Not only that, the names Reepoo, Geepoo, and Seepoo are listed in these books, and you see the word poo without the H. So are you indicating that because Reepoo, Geepoo, and Seepoo did not put an H at the end of their name, that it means it's Hindu? Because that's the statement that you made. You said poo is Hindu. You also said queen is not African, or whatever the case may be, is European, whatever, all that stuff you were saying. The point is, I never indicated that queen came from queen. So the fact that you're using that is invalid, and I can't debate something that's not fact. My response to that is, I never said my name had to deal with queen. And for Kenneth, that's underneath the post, he can confirm that, since he's trying to ride your wave, he can confirm that I said my name was not queen multiple times. And also, I don't need people to follow or comment for acceptance, like Kenneth is doing with you. The same way you got Earl and all these other people following you around and listening to your nonsense, when Kenneth, I'm gonna use Kenneth, was definitely on our side multiple times, calling the cult child molestation cult, all different things like that. I'm not even going to get into personal, because he gave a lot of personal information too, but that's not my place to do that. That's where y'all throw shots. But where I'm coming from is, if Kenneth, if you got anything to say to me, come under my post and say it. Stop being Charles' little doggy on a leash. Okay? And that's the problem. Y'all, Charles, you find the most unintelligent, slow individuals to follow you, and you think that you have power because you're doing that. That's no different than your master teacher. He's looking for people that don't have any knowledge of self, that don't follow any religions, that's trying to find a place in the world, and then he gets a grasp of them, gives them religion, deception, and all of this stuff, including molestation, giving them children that he's not going to take care of. And it takes all of that for some, not all, to finally see that they was bamboozled. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to get into the nature books, because Charles hid this part on his screen. This shows that when you do, he was freestyling. He didn't read and reason. He was freestyling. He also reads very terribly. He reads like the student in the class that the kids don't want the teacher to pick on because they about to take 20 minutes to read 2 sentences. That's how you read. Horrible. All right. So this is what Mr. Charles was reading right here. Okay. It says, listen to reason. The name of the first personality is NoopooH, pronounced NoopooH, and is no coincidence that the letters number of NoopooH is number 9 this way. In the American English language, N is the 14th letter of the English alphabet, O is the 15th, and P is the 16th, and N plus O plus O plus P plus O plus O equals NoopooH, which is 90 without the H on it, as you can see. Then it says, and take note that the perfection of the heavenly personality takes place at point 9 north, tip top of the order circle. See figures 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7 in parts 2 of this book. Okay? The H at the end of the word NoopooH is added because the name NoopooH must be spelled in odd letters, plus the fact that H stands for the 9 half of the smat circle of order, which is the heavenly half. The name NoopooH must be spelled in an odd number of letters like 3, 5, 7, or 9 because the digit 9 is odd, like the one supreme being is 1 and odd. Okay? The letter H at the end of the name NoopooH is silent and should always be capitalized because it is symbolic. And the H is symbolic for the reasons listed previously. Okay? And for those that do not know, NoopooH represents mind power. Okay? It represents mind power. So me using poo is representative of power. The queen part that I added is personal, like I said, and it's not queen. I would have just added the N there. I don't have to explain to y'all every personal piece of my life, because that's what y'all digging for, number one. And number two, I'm a very private person. I only come out and do this because I stand strong on not keeping deception going, and I'm a very strong Nooney boo in this field. I don't need help. So anyway, so poo is used to represent power. That's the reason why I use P-O-O. Okay? And even in one of Afro-Unu's books, it says that all power starts in the mind. So if I put a word before poo, that all started in the mind regardless. Okay? And I'll add that book here just for his lack of research. But we
Still dream about you at night. Still check my phone every minute. Even when I think I reach my limit. Still text goodnight. Even when we ain't alright. I do. Still cry when we fight. Still dream about you at night. Still check my phone every minute. Even when I think I reach my limit. Still text goodnight. Even when we ain't alright.
Yo, sister now. Let me put some hot sauce on that thing real quick.
Still cry when we fight. Still dream about
But we can see here, re-poo. Then we have gi-poo. and Si-poo or Sipu, right? Because it says the star representative, which is the sun. This is the star representative, also known as Ripu. As we know, Re is another name for the sun. This is why it's sun power. This is grade school, Charles. Here, Gi-pu. Another name for the earth is Girtha. So it's Gi-pu. So that means that the names revolved through time. That's the point that you don't understand. And for you to say that I changed my names to be slick, you changed your name 4 times. I did 1 name change. That's called revolving. What you did is change your name 4 times and you're evolving. Now let's go back because this is grade school. Now we have Si or Sipu. As we know, this is the satellite representative, which is the moon. And another name for the moon is Sin. They didn't have to add all the extra letters there. So if I decided to add a word in front of Poo and I didn't add all the extra letters, it doesn't diminish the meaning of the reason why I use Quipu. I don't have to tell you that. I don't have to tell you why. But the point is, if I'm telling you it's not Queen and it's coming from the person that came up with their name, you need to take that as it is. That's it. A person's word is their bond. Unlike yours, your word ain't your bond, apparently. So that's the point. So are you saying that Ripu, Gipu, and Sipu, which were 3 human beings, are you telling me that these, because they put a P-O-O at the end of their name with no H, you telling me that that's Hindu? And you have to provide the source of what you're talking about, because you showed no proof, no documents, no nothing. All you did was go to the etymological definitions online to look up Queen, which had more positive definitions than negative, but you wouldn't focus on that. You just focusing on where the root of it is. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break down the names that you have, because this is gonna prove what you said. You said spiritually, or spirits take part in name changes and stuff like that. So
and the spirit made you choose this name. So the name that's in question in origins and reason is the name Quipu. The name Quipu.
I'm gonna add the clip and where you said that, and then I'm gonna show you how your spirit is behind your name changes and your confusion. Okay? And also, if you say I'm being slick to change my names, Afro Unu also changed his name multiple times. He revolved them. Asu Nubu, Naba Noopooh, and the other Noopooh name. But though in those books, Noopooh was spelled with a U, N-U-P-U. Correct? Which you know because you have these books. The U, it stands for the bottom half. Once Afro Unu introduced the nature books, everything was spelled with O-O, because it was now introducing top half information. So now you have the entire circle. But you wouldn't know that because you lack research and you lack intelligence. So please stop saying that you are an Ethiopian man with 9 mind. You want to be an Ethiopian man with 9 mind. You ain't got it. You just got to accept that. Your brain is fried with all this weed you smoking. You don't take no spirit purification, which the books say to do. You don't get to pick and choose what you want to listen to. You're confusing whoever's watching you here and there with your 10 to 18 views or whatever, but you want to brag about 700 followers. Whoop-de-doo. So even when those books, the previous books where the writer's names was NoopooH, the last names were NoopooH with the U, the PU still represents power. You even was posting the word NoopooH and you added a POO at the end of NoopooH. So you know that those terms are interchangeable. So what you're gonna say now? You're gonna scapegoat me for this now? You're gonna scapegoat me, Tarnoon, Noonette, and the rest of us because of your misinformation? You know PU and POO were interchangeable. You know that. But the reason why POO is being used now is because of the cycle changes. This is what I mean by mental illness. This is mental illness right now. Okay, so we're gonna go into the names you use. Use the names Garu Ray NoopooH, Oraku NoopooH, Official Illuminati, and you also go by Grand Kush as we know now. First of all, you naming yourself after a drug, that means that your spirit knows exactly the type of individual you are. This is why you're always smoking. This is why you're always high in your videos. That's why since we want to go the spiritual route, who would name themselves after weed? And don't say that you're trying to use it for Egypt or whatever else that you're trying to know. You're using you're using it directly because you're a weed smoker. There's nothing else to get around with that. And you also can't say, oh well, I know some of y'all smoke. You have to prove that. I don't smoke weed at all. You have to prove that. Then if we don't, that's our problem. No, it's not a problem. I don't have a mental fog up here from getting my brain fried from drugs, which the nature books also say not to use. You can't read laws on scapegoatism but pick and choose what laws you want to listen to because you're addicted to something. Once you become an addict, that means you have spirit being control on you in certain areas. That means you're weak. Okay, so now we're gonna get into your names. We're even gonna get into Charles Agee. Okay, we already know Charles is not African, but that's not even the point. When you have a birth name, that's your birth name. You have no control, but also spirits know the past, present, and future. So when you were named for a reason. Let's take it there, okay? So let's look at your last name, Agee. It's British English, okay? So this isn't African, this is British English. And it has a Scottish and English dialect, okay? And it means awry, crooked, or ajar, okay? So we're gonna look at what these words what some of these words mean. Because we already know you crooked. You crooked. You switching lanes. You fake. You've always acted like you was down for Noone, but you was low key jealous, and that's just how you get down. Okay. So let's look at the definition of the word Ari. It says away from the appropriate, planned, or expected course, amiss, out of the normal or correct position. You are. That means you're out of control. That means that you're not in alignment. You're not in alignment with Noone at all either. The way you act is away from the appropriate. Lying, scapegoaters, these are all things that are away from the appropriate. Tell the truth. Those are appropriate things to do. Tell the truth. But you can't do that. So these names that you go by definitely define you as a person. So we're going to keep going. So you also named yourself Garu Ray NoopooH. And mind you, any name that you have with NoopooH at the end of it, you always added 2 O's. So why is it so much of a problem when I'm adding 2 O's in Quipu? But we're going to continue. So let's look at Garu. Garu. It is a Telugu word. Telugu word. It is a word used to respect elders, reputed persons, dignitaries, etc. Garu is similar to G or J in Hindi, sir or madam in English. Okay? So you want to go into origins, or you want to go into words and where they're spoken. Let's look at what Telugu is. Telugu, a Dravidian language spoken mainly in Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and other parts of southern India. So we can't talk about Quipu's name being Hindu, or the word poo being Hindu, because then that now makes you accountable now, because now you're saying that the word poo being used in the nature books is Hindu too, not just my name, because the source is still the nature book. So you would have to prove that Afro-Unu used poo and got it from the Hindu. You would have to prove that, because it's false, but you would have to prove that. So as we can see, who the Telugu, we can see what language Telugu comes from. It's Dravidian. See, and Telugu is also a member of a people living mainly in Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and other parts of southern India, and speak Telugu. So let's look at what Dravidians are. Dravidian, relating to or denoting a family of languages spoken in southern India and Sri Lanka, or the peoples who speak them. That's Hindu. But that's what you named yourself, along with your spirit being. That means you are possessed. Okay? That means you are possessed. So you can't use the whole spirit thing, and you don't even look into the things that you say, and you also hid the nature books from the screen. So you have to prove that poo is Hindu. That's your job. That's not my job, because I know that it's not. The only thing that's showing up that's Hindu is the names you chose. Okay? So you also called yourself Ora Ku NoopooH. So let's look up Aura or Aura. Okay? So here it says aura. It's a noun. It says it's a plural of os. So we're gonna look up what os means. Os. And as we see here, it says the anatomy, zoology, a bone. Okay? This is why Osiris starts with OS, as you can see here. Okay? This is why you have Osiris tatted on your body.
Let me put some hot sauce on that thing real quick.
Still cry when we fight. Still dream about you at night. Still check my phone every minute. Even when I think I reached my limit. Still text goodnight. Even when we ain't alright. I do.
Let me put some hot sauce on that thing.
With an afro, which is disrespectful to the Ethiopian, because Osiris is in no favor of the Ethiopian race. But this is clear. This is also why you paint your nails with black nail polish like later day rock stars do. And a lot of the symbolism dealing with rock stars, or you know, people in that field, is skull and bones. So you gotta come better. This is grade school right here. Alright? So now let's look. We're gonna look at another meaning of the word aura or aura. Okay? If we look up aura et labora, aura means pray. Okay? Aura means pray, which is very religious. So aura et labora just means pray and work. So I'm just trying to show people, or pray and labor. That's why I'm just trying to show people what the word aura also means. It also means pray, which is religious. And you are very religious. You're a very religious individual. You want people to look up to you. You want you scapegoat, which is a religious doctrine. And you look up to a master liar, which is another form of religion. You look, he calls himself the savior. Why would you want to look up to somebody who calls them the savior when the nature books tell you that the time for the savior has passed? Make it make sense. Okay, so you also go by the name Official Illuminati. Okay, so we're gonna look at, hold on one second. As we already know, your name is just a spin-off of the word Illuminati. Okay? And it says people claiming to possess special enlightenment or knowledge of something. A sect of 16th century Spanish heretics who claim special religious enlightenment. A Bavarian secret society founded in 1776, organized like the Freemasons. So, you personally believe that you possess special enlightenment or knowledge, and that you should be acknowledged for such, no matter how ignorant it is, no matter how ignorant you get on these videos and emotional and start ranting, and no matter what, you feel like you should be acknowledged. This is why you care about subscribers and followers. I care about the truth. Okay? So this does play a part. So you feel like you should be illuminated. That's what you feel. This is exactly why you chose the names that you chose via spirit being influenced, because you're mentally weak. You don't have any control over You don't suppress your spirit. That's the thing. You don't suppress it. When the last time you even took terpene sulfur? You don't suppress it. Alright, so now we're going to go into, because he changed Illuminati to Illuminabi. So we're going to go into what Nabi means. Okay? Nabi in Islam means a prophet. So you believe that you are some form of a prophet and people should look up to you. This is why you get little cronies like Earl and Adafa and Kansu and Kenneth to follow you, and you want them to follow in your footsteps because you think that you have the answers and the research and the knowledge and all of this information, which you don't. And you choose people to follow you that you know that is not going to do research. That's no different than what Dr. York did. The people that actually left the cult were either, number one, abused and seek treatment, or abused and just left because they knew that something was wrong, or the ones that actually questioned the doctrine and seen the holes in it. So these names define you and who you represent. And this does not represent Nine Mind or NoopooH. It represents Zupu. So you keep calling us Zupuites, which isn't even a real thing. That's what this represents. As you can see, when we go back to Aura and look at the word Os, it says zoology. This is who you represent. You represent Zupu. So you can't point the fingers over here when you lack research. So it was a good try. It was a good try. I'll give you a little clap, but it didn't work. You got to do better next time. Alright, so that answers this question about my name or its origins and things like that for the most part. But it also shows that people don't look back at themselves and are quick to point a finger. And that's what you call scapegoatism, which is religious doctrine. So I hope some people learn from this, even though it's a debate between me and this clown. I hope people learn, and I hope people got a better understanding of Noone Science and just me as a person and how I handle, certain situations when dealing with information. I have to use facts, irrefutable evidence, and things like that. Okay? So, true mental peace in war times. I hope this video helped you, and stay tuned for the next one, whenever that is.
That means you should stand up.